Hey, welcome back. Shooting a stage in PRS is an adventure sometimes. And that means that you have to be fully prepared when you get up to the line to start shooting. Now, I'm not going to get into the intricacies of planning a stage at this point. Instead, I want to talk about that last checklist that you do, the final checks that you do with your rifle before you start a stage, because that will save you points. I guarantee it. So let's today talk about my checklist: flag, mag, bag, dope, and scope, and see if we can't figure out what I'm talking about here so that you can replicate this in your own format in order to make sure that you have all of the critical things taken care of on your rifle before time starts. So the first step is flag, and it seems self-evident, but you need to take the flag out of the rifle. If the flag's in the rifle, when you start time, you're going to spend a little time trying to figure out why the bolt won't close, and worse yet, you can jam the rifle up pretty solid with a flag in it. So make sure you take your flag out and put it in your pocket so you have it at the end of the stage, because as soon as you're done shooting, you should be putting it back in the rifle. You should have a pocket on you somewhere that will hold your flag. So make sure you have that with you when you're shooting PRS. Next is mag, standing for magazine, if you didn't guess that already. But there's a couple of things to this, not just inserting it into the rifle. Make sure it has the right number of rounds in it. I've seen far too many people start a stage without adequate rounds in the magazine. I've even done it before I started using this checklist. The next thing is, once that magazine is in and fully seated, pull on it to make sure it doesn't come out, and then stick your finger in through the ejection port and make sure that first round is aligned properly so it will feed when you push the bolt forward. There's nothing like jamming the rifle at the very beginning of a stage. All right, bag is not completely self-evident. I'll admit it. Bag refers to all rests and supports you're going to use during a stage. That means your position bag, if you're using one, your plate bag, if you're using one, your rear admiral bag, if you happen to be using one for tripod rear, but if you've got that on the rifle, you're going to need your tripod. And last but not least, your bipod. If you have a stage where you're going to be shooting off of something where you need the bipod, it should be attached to the rifle. This is your last check that you have all of the tools necessary to shoot the stage the way you've planned it. That way you don't have to ad-lib on the clock. All right, dope is kind of evident, but it means that you should not only have the first elevation and windage dialed into the scope ahead of time, it also means that you should have your data on the rifle or on your wrist coach, wherever you're going to keep it, with you in real time so that you can use it on the clock. The next thing that is really super important here is, if you're marking your turrets, make sure your turrets are marked correctly, because there's nothing like going to the wrong elevation for a target and then wondering why you're hitting a mil high or a mil low. And the last item is scope. A lot of people find themselves starting a stage with their scope caps closed, especially when it's raining. And this is kind of a time waster, to say the least. Beyond that, they start stages with other problems with their scope. So let's talk about a few of them. Scope caps closed. Yep, you're going to waste some time opening them. Have the wrong magnification. You end up searching for the targets and dialing on that scope. Kind of an unnecessary waste of time. And last but not least, the parallax is not set. You should set your parallax before you start, at least for your first target. And then one other thing to think about is, if you have any electronics mounted on the scope, they should be turned on. In my case, I have a red dot on top of the scope that I leave on for the entire match, but I also have an electronic level down the left-hand side of the rifle, and I have my crush it timer. Both of those need to be on. I look at them, make sure the level is changing colors when I roll the rifle back and forth, and the crush it is turned on. So guys, that's the entire checklist. Flag, mag, bag, dope, and scope, and can go pretty quickly when you're ready to go, but make sure you're checking those things before you start a stage, because trust me, hilarity ensues if you miss one. And until next time, shoot straight. I'll see you in the next video.